Hey guys, welcome back to Grounded Life Finances. Allie and Rob here, and today we are sharing about downsizing from 3,000 square feet to 10 square feet.
Yeah, we started out with a 3,000 square foot house in Atlanta, Georgia. And now we're down to about 10 square feet, which is just our two suitcases. Haven't actually measured those, but I think that's probably
It's
about
approximately how big they are together.
We did have an intermediate couple of steps in there. So we're going to talk about how and why you should do that and what the benefits are of downsizing all the way from wherever you're in down to 10 square feet. So the first thing I think that you need to do, just when you lay it out there, you're going to have to sell everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that's not essential, you're going to have to sell it. That means just, there's not going to be this whole process where you go through, should I keep this? No, it's just sell everything.
Gone.
Everything is gone.
There's no keep pile.
No keep pile except for essentials. And you don't really even need many clothes for that. It's just basically the stuff you live your life with. And you're going to say, I can't do it. There's stuff I can't part with or I couldn't live without, but you're going to get those things.
Mm-hmm.
So we have each got one suitcase and one backpack, and you each get to pick what you put in there. Now, I have allotted my space in my backpack a lot differently than she has. So I do have my Xbox in my backpack, and I have my cameras in my backpack, and my computer, and that's about all I can fit in there.
Rob's backpack always draws a lot of attention at security everywhere.
Yeah, I have a lot of cables in there
because
too.
he has a lot of cables in there. You can always tell when they're looking at his bag because they stop and they start turning their head looking like, what is that?
Yeah.
Every once in a while they ask him to take stuff out, but for the most part they could tell it's just a gaming system and a bunch of cables and his camera.
So when you're talking about going through your house that you're downsizing from, and you're looking at like your TVs and your blenders, and when we first did this, we kept our bed for some weird reason, put it in storage. You're not going to need any of that because you're going to be renting places to live, and they'll all have TVs, they'll all have blenders, they'll all have beds, they'll all have everything you could possibly need. What they won't have is a computer, an Xbox if you want that, or a camera. Mm-hmm. So basically think to yourself, if I was renting an Airbnb, a fully furnished Airbnb, what would I need to take to that for the weekend? That's all you need to keep, because that's how you'll be living if you're living this lifestyle.
Right. It was hard. It's hard at first, like daunting, the initial, oh my gosh, I have to sell everything. So you can kind of separate things like, okay, this is easy to decide to get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. I mean, when we started the process, we had boxes from where we had moved the previous time that we never even opened when we moved. Well, that was easy. Just sell everything in that box because we hadn't used it in 2 years.
Yeah.
So that stuff is easy. So start with that stuff and then work your way down to things like, oh, my little girl used to play with this and it was such a fun game. Do you really need that? They still sell that.
Yeah.
It's hard when it's the sentimental stuff, but really when you start to think about it, you start to, kind of tear away from it when you think you're going to have that hold you back. You don't want to pay for space for something like that.
Yeah, we did start out with a storage unit, and I think it was kind of a mistake because after about a year and a half, we're like, we're paying $150, $200 a month for the storage unit, and after about 2 years we had wasted probably $4,000 on the storage unit, and we went back and we basically just sold everything in it for much less than $4,000. So we basically just lost $1,000 to store that stuff for 2 years, and then we ended up just giving the rest of it away because we realized, over time the cost of storing these things over a 5-year period is tens of thousands of dollars. So it's not really worth it to save a $300 TV, but to pay $10,000 to store it.
Exactly.
So that kind of brings me to the next point that people kind of have a problem with is, I don't want to get rid of this thing because I have it, I like it, it's nice, it's my juicer, it's my blender, it's my favorite TV.
Favorite, whatever. Insert item.
The thing is that if you sell that item now, and you wait 2 years and go travel the world, and you decide, you know what, this life isn't for me, You come back, you get an apartment, you buy a condo, you buy a house, you go back to buy a TV. You're going to get a 2-year newer TV, and the price is probably going to be cut in half from what it was when you sold it. So you can always buy everything back that you've sold. And I think that's the big sticking point for people, is they, for some reason, don't want to give up the one thing they bought without realizing you could always just get this life back.
Yeah, not just that, there'll be better versions of it by the time you decide, if you change your mind that you want it. That's the reason why we kept our bed. We were like, oh, this is a special sleep number bed, and we bought it as a gift to ourselves. Let's hang on to it and pay to store it.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
We kept thinking to ourselves every time we went back to the storage unit, we're like, why do we have this bed in here? What are we going to do with it? Yeah. Eventually, we just sold it and just said, that's enough.
You will have a few things that are irreplaceable, a small amount of things. And we did store a couple of those things with family. Because, it's not like just this, oh, you have to be tough and get rid of everything you ever own. No, it's not that. It's just, you don't want to overload your family with like a whole room full of stuff. But we do have a few things that we wanted to keep.
We have 2 small, like, file size boxes of things that we kept, and they are in a closet in one of our parents' homes. And it's nice that it's there. It's not something that you can ever get back. And we shipped things to our kids that we thought they might like. We did ask them before we sent it, and they both said yes. So we sent them each a box of some things from their childhood that they wanted. Like our daughter wanted her American Girl dolls. We shipped them to her because, she was in LA and we were in Atlanta, so you don't really want to fly with dolls. But we shipped stuff to her. We shipped a small box of things to our son in Chicago, and that was taken care of. So it's, it can be done. It is a process, and yes, it is emotional at times, but it can be done.
But I will say, for as emotional as it is to get rid of stuff, it's 10 times more freeing to be free of stuff at the end of the process, to know that you have the rest of your life in front of you. You have no bills, you have no things weighing you down, you're not worried, you have more money than you thought you had because you got a lot of money for all this stuff, and you just have freedom. And that is worth more than having some pennant or poster that you had in your room when you were 6 years old. That really has just been rolled up in your closet for 40 years. So at the end of the day, we decided those things just didn't mean that much to us. And we would rather live a life that we wanted to rather than hang on to the past life. And we're going to go make new stuff that we want. Which kind of brings me to the next one, which is clothing. This is going to be the tough one. This is always a struggle because we only keep the one suitcase each. And it does help to know where you're going to be going. So we tend to rotate between colder areas and warmer areas, because when you're in the colder area, you need to do all the cold stuff at once. You don't want to go cold, warm every other month because it's a totally different wardrobe. So most places that you're going to go, though, you can buy pretty inexpensive clothing to where once you've worn it for that 6 months, you can just ditch it and then get new clothes for the next place you're going if it's a different temperature.
Yeah, I mean, like, usually they are worn. Like, you cannot give them away because they're not in condition to be worn by anybody. But when we do the cold weather areas, we usually donate like jackets and scarves and things like that, just because they're still in good condition. We don't just throw them away. But the clothing we pretty much wear until they are done.
Yeah. So, but we do get pretty good deals. Nowadays, you can buy really inexpensive jackets, gloves, hats on Amazon. We bought ours in Turkey when we were there.
We did.
They were a really good deal.
We got a great deal in Istanbul because it was right at the end of the cold season there, but we were going to be in really cold season in Canada from there. So it worked out perfectly for us because stuff was on sale in Turkey that we were going to bring to Canada with us.
But probably the worst thing you could do is to buy everything you think you're going to need for the year in the United States and take it with you, because the clothing is like 5 times more expensive than most of these places you'll be visiting. You want to just bring a couple of outfits with you, and then when you get to the country you're going to, go on a shopping spree there. Not only will you not have to fly with it, but you'll get everything cheaper, and it'll be kind of like local stuff, and it'll it'll just be better for you.
Yeah, and you're just helping out with the economy in each of those places, which is really good. So it is important, and we both have what we call capsule wardrobes. So we have, you know, a handful of shirts, and they work. We rotate them with either cardigans for me, or, you know, Rob's got pants that are convertible. They go from shorts to pants. All you do is unzip at the knees. So thank you, Columbia, for that. Just different things like that that really are great, you know, shortcuts for your wardrobe, especially for men.
Yeah,
I feel like you have a lot more choices than I do.
Yeah, I think we both do pretty well.
But we both do well. I mean, we've kind of settled into a system that works for us with the capsule wardrobe.
Yeah, so I think the overall thought on this video of downsizing from 3,000 square feet to 10 square feet was, it was a little daunting when we first decided to do it. We thought, can we actually do this? We actually didn't do it. We actually downsized to about 200 square feet with a storage unit, and then went to 10. But if we had to do it over again, we would just cut the storage unit right out, because it's so much better just to do it.
Absolutely. Hopefully that's helpful as you're starting to think about the logistics behind, you know, selling everything and going on the road. If you have any questions, leave those for us down below in the comment section. If you got something out of it, give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.